Good morning, folks. Good morning. Merry Christmas. It is the 22nd of December, and Christmas is literally days away. We are finishing up, or well, not finishing up, but we're getting close to being done with painting Nora here, so we'll just continue on with it. Once again, for the many new people, or however many new people are coming in to watch my tutorials that I do daily throughout the week. What this is a real-time tutorial on how you might work on your animated projects from day to day. I literally do something each day on this project throughout the week, and I post these so that if you are working on your film and you'd like to see someone working in real time on their own film, then you can see that, and hopefully it will be of some help to you. I teach animation classes, and I teach one-on-one online. So if you are interested in taking my classes, you can contact me through this channel. Leave a comment and let me know if you're interested in taking a class with me. My classes are very reasonable. I do an animation class, I do a storyboard class, and I do a character design classes. They're all pretty inexpensive, comparatively speaking. I give you payment options where you don't have to pay the full amount up front, and it is a one-on-one. I generally do these one-on-one because I'm more interested in helping the individual, because everybody's learning curve is different. Anyways, so I'm right now doing a painting on this particular character. I'm working in a program called Rough Animator, which is very inexpensive. The desktop version that I'm using right now works for Windows and Mac, and it's only $10. You pay for it outright. There's no subscription fee. All right, so we're painting Nora, and we're going on to the next frame here. I'm going to turn the onion skin off because I don't really need it for painting. I've made another layer so that the layer is just color, which is all the color of the paint is being done on that layer. So this is a blank frame that I'm going to trace over. I'm going to set my pen for solid color, and then I'm going to start doing a clean ink line for Nora here. Nora is done in several different colors on her skin line and on her clothing. The color of the lines is different for each section of her, so it gives her a more softer, mottled kind of look, which I like. And I hit the paint bucket here, and I can fill that in completely. And I don't number the color in panels. There's no real need to, since this is going to be the finished thing. Sometimes I'll make the image bigger so that I can ink it better and I can see the lines more clearly. Nora has pink on her lips here. Her skin line is this color, which is kind of a, I guess you could say that's sort of a light tan color. And so since that's going to work on her arms and hands, I'll go ahead and ink that line as well. There's a function on my inking that will allow me to put a line behind a line so that it you don't see, if I draw on top of a line, over here on the bottom, there's a little thing here says draws behind. So I hit that so that the line that I make works behind. Yeah. I'm going to go ahead and do the rest of her. Now let's see. Her shirt has this purple line here, collar right there, and here. This is all working behind. There we go. Then the box has a red line. We're going to go down here to the line tool and pick a line tool. Now this is working also behind, but it's a line tool, so there we go. So make that red line. And then I have a blue line here that works on the side. There we go. Alright, then we'll go back to the line tool to get the regular drawn wavy line, which the wavy line represents a hand-drawn line. The rest of Nora's lines down here are going to be outlined in blue. There we go. I think if you work bigger, you just end up with a much nicer, clean up, so you can see it better. All right, now we'll go to the brush, I'll go to the bucket paint bucket, and we'll put her skin color in here on her arms and hands. Okay, on the shirt. Any places where you see white popping through, you use the brush to paint behind to make sure that that white doesn't pop through. Now on her lips, she does have white, which is going to work behind. That works for the part of her lips that are, this is not pink. Okay, here's the pants. So paint bucket on the pants and the shoes. We'll need the brush to get in there, so those little cracks. Okay, then on the block we have red on the top, green on the sides, and yellow on the front. Okay. Always check all the areas where you've painted to see to it that no white is showing through. Okay. Yeah, that's working fine. Okay. On to the next one. Sometimes I do all the lines before I paint it in, but really a lot of it just depends on how you feel. Getting your lines straight just requires that you get practice making a line. When you make a line, you're trying to keep it continuous throughout if possible. But your hand might not always be, it might kind of quiver as you move it across. Don't let that bother you too much. Just go for it. Another thing that's a good thing to do is to work straight ahead on your lines and your color, because when you work straight along, you don't see errors as easily. And that can be very helpful. Very helpful. All right, there's the mouth. And then the skin color on the chin line. There. Arm. I keep the setting on the draws behind probably more than anything else because most of the time I find that when you're doing a line or a color, you do tend to want the line to work underneath something. Not all the time, obviously, but for some reason I notice it. I mean, the worst case scenario is like if you find that you've got a line underneath when it should be on top. It's not a huge deal to fix that. So like here, I'm putting all the color lines in first before I paint it. It's kind of like you're keeping your actions to something efficient. It's like if you're doing all your line work first and then you're filling in the color last, it's just an organized way of working, that's all. Doesn't necessarily mean one way is better than the other, but I guess it kind of works out. So here I'm getting the line tool again for the block. Yeah, I'm amazed at how often the draws behind feature seems to be apropos. And I always have to kind of remember too, she has these, lines over her eyelids like this and underneath her eyes. It's very subtle. Sometimes I forget that it's supposed to be there. Okay, here. Let's see, skin color. So white behind the lips. Shirt color. You're always going to end up with little areas that you have to fill in. It happens a lot. Let's see. And I go back for any reference. It's like normally I'd look at a model sheet, but I go back to the previous frame to make sure that everything is consistent. Yeah. Okay, on to the next one. Yeah, let's see. One thing you might try when you're developing your line quality is to get a sheet of paper, or if you're working on your computer, just say dedicate just a blank frame and just practice drawing straight lines or circles and do a series of them, because what that does is it gets your hand used to making circles and straight lines and stuff. And that can be really helpful in helping you to make straight lines when you're inking your drawing or you're putting a line around something. You know, it's a good discipline. I don't think you have to. Um, I know they have these in Photoshop. There's a means by which you can make a really very clean line that has a lot of tidiness to it because it's more of a mechanical thing. I don't know. I think it's better to have a little bit of humanity in your work. So everything's too perfect, but that really depends on you as an artist. How do you want your animation to look? Do you feel you need to have it be um, the lines be somehow perfect, or do you mind, or do you not care? Do you care more about, say, the human touch? I personally like the human touch. I think it just looks better, but that's just me. I think you have to go with what you feel is right for your project. I mean, obviously, if you work in a, kind of imperfect thing, obviously that's allows you to be a little, I guess, sloppier if you want to use that term. But I think it is easier, obviously. And animation is already going to be a lot of work anyway, no matter what you do. Just the mere fact that you have to do a lot of drawings, you can't really get around that. So if something is a little loose or whatever, obviously that's a justification to not have to worry about it being perfect, which has obviously certain advantages, but it also can add to the look. So I guess you have to weigh these things against one another and see what makes the most sense for your own product, for your own production. If it looks right for what you're doing, then I guess you go that way. Okay. Oops, wrong color. Should be black. Oops. Let's go backwards. Okay. There we go. Right. Let's see. Skin color. Whoops. Pick back. There we go. Let's see. Sometimes, like here, you can see on the side of her face here, I think the peach line, now that I look at it, I think it might be better if I don't have it break up in here. So I'm going to go on top of this line and smooth it out here. Yeah. So now here I worked on top of the line, but I'm going to turn it back to working underneath. So I like that feature better. Okay, shirt. Okay. Pants. Shoes. Generally, if you don't have any issues, the color will usually go right where it's supposed to. But sometimes you have little areas where the color doesn't quite seep in. Let's see. Sometimes you have that. Let's see here. I'll pull it back out. Go to window. Okay. So play that. Let's save. Didn't save anything. Save. Need to save, by the way. I don't know how many times I've had my program crash on me and then I lose what I just did. That always sucks. This is coming along. There we go. All right, good people. Well, I think we'll stop here. We're at 20 minutes. So, all right. Okay, I'll see you guys tomorrow. It's looking pretty good. All right. So have a beautiful day. I will see you tomorrow. Merry Christmas. And don't forget, the reason for the season is Jesus. And Jesus is Lord.